What's up? In this video I'm gonna show you how to create Fuego reggaeton beats. Right now reggaeton is dominating the charts, with artists like Feid, Yandel, and of course Bad Bunny. But also artists like Karol G or Rauw Alejandro are rocking it right now. And the streams which are generated by this music are insane. I think Drake is definitely jealous of Bad Bunny. Let me know in the comments if you guys also think this. And in this video I'm going to show you how to create a top-notch reggaeton beat in FL Studio. So enjoy guys. Step 1. Reggaeton drums. In most of the cases reggaeton is created between 85 and 105 BPM. So right now just let's pick 101. And in this video I'm going to use my Meta Reggaeton drum kit. So first we're going to use a kick and we're going to put it at every step. The second thing which you add is a snare. Then we're going to create a triplet rhythm. So this is the basic rhythm. But in reggaeton you remove the first one of the three, which creates that kind of groove. So you end up with this rhythm. And lately in reggaeton you hear a lot of drum switch up. In some of the cases the kick is also changing, but in most of the cases it's just a snare. So in most of the cases the first snare is really tight and the second one is wider and contains some more low frequencies. That's how easy drums are switched up in reggaeton. And if you want to, for example, play around with that more typical reggaeton rhythm, you just add one extra snare right here, turn down the velocity and add this one every second step. So you end up with this rhythm. Also another snare rhythm which you could apply to your reggaeton beat. And also in a lot of reggaeton beats we have this first deep kick, which you just layer with the kick you already have. And this is basically the second most common rhythm. All those samples are included in the reggaeton drum kit. So after adding multiple snares to your track, you're gonna add some percussions to the drumlet because otherwise it sounds way too empty. So the first thing is a head. Then add in another percussion. Then we're gonna add another percussive snare sound. So that's it, keep it simple, and later on we're gonna switch up this specific loop. Step 2, adding melodies. In reggaeton, a brass or horn is used very often, just to create a powerful main melody. And then usually a simple guitar plug is used to build around that main melody. And this gives the whole vibe and feeling to the beat. And in most of the cases, these melodies are sidechained, just to add another extra layer of groove. So first I'm using this toy piano preset from the Prophet, and without any effects it sounds like this. But right now it sounds way too dry, so I've added a simple verb suit, added some fresh air, don't know what it does, but it sounds cool. I've added some tape effect, then I've removed some of the annoying frequencies, then I've added this sidechain, used those two EQs to widen up the sound, so we're basically panning something to the left and then compensating that using an REQ, so we're separating the whole frequency to make it sound wide, because I want the chord progression to sound on the sides. So after adding the effect it sounds like this. Sounds so spacious and just really cool. Then I'm layering this with a plug from Serum, simply added some reverb and some sidechaining again. Then another main element is coming in, and this is crucial when it comes to creating reggaeton beats. So I've used the CS80 and I've used the Control Horns preset. This one is basically following along the chord progression. Then I've added some distortion to the sound, chorus to make it sound softer, of course some reverb, and again sidechained it. And the final element which I've added is a guitar from Contact, the Electric Sunburst Deluxe, using a simple reverb and some sidechaining. So I would advise you to at least create 4 layers which you can switch up when it comes to your arrangements, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And this keeps the beat interesting, not repetitive, and perfect and easy to listen to. So that would be my advice. Step 3, the bassline. So I'm very proud to present you this new plugin by Unison, which is called Bass Dragon. And it's an amazing plugin for creating bass lines from scratch. It instantly generates bass lines for 30 genres using an AI algorithm for instant inspiration. So it comes with 200 factory-based presets, a built-in sampler, a built-in effects channel. It also contains a built-in piano roll, and it can create MIDI melodies based on your MIDI. It can also generate bass lines using your own samples. And the most awesome thing about this plugin is you can basically create a MIDI and then just drag it into your DAW, which is crazy. And I've used this one to create a bass line for this beat. So just to get some inspiration and feeling, and I think that's what it's all about when it comes to this plugin. So we can select Reggaeton, and I'm creating the beat in B major, and then we could say 4 or 8 bars. So in this case, let's say 8 bars, and then we just press generate. And then you simply open up the piano roll and then drag and drop MIDI. That's how easy it is creating a unique bassline using this plugin. So this plugin released on April 4th, and right now there is a $100 limited time discount on the plugin. So definitely go and check it out. So the launch price for this plugin is $179. And you also get 3 exclusive bonuses: awesome MIDI chord progressions, drum loops, and advanced video training, and access to an exclusive Facebook group. So that's a lot of value for $179. So if you're interested in this plugin, definitely go and take a look at the link in the description. And I'm using this choppers preset from the Unison Bass Dragon. Then I've added a simple frequency modulated bass. And I'm going to show you this mixing trick to make your low frequencies sound way cleaner. You add a kickstart 2 to the bass line, then you select the kick, then you select bass right here, and this arrow, right mouse button, and then select sidechain to this track. Then you open up the sidechain plugin again, open up processing, and then select right mouse button on sidechain LR, and then select the kick. So in this case, kick 4, and then in kickstart 2, select audio. And right now the bass is sidechaining to the audio. And this way your kick and bass aren't colliding. And for example, if you don't own the Kickstart 2 plugin, simply drag in this waveform, then select it like this, open up the channel rack again, select bass, right mouse button, and then select create automation clip. So you create an automation clip within the playlist, drag it underneath, copy this value, and then simply draw a sidechain yourself. Basically doing exactly the same. So if you're creating reggaeton beats, make sure to apply this trick. Step 4, arranging the beat. In reggaeton, there are multiple ways how to arrange your beat. So first, just the piano, the bass, and the drums are playing. Then I'm switching it up by changing the snare and adding the pluck. So then I'm removing the drums. Then I'm adding the horns. Then I'm removing the kick and I'm creating this snare roll. And then I'm adding the guitar and adding all the percussive sounds. And for making the arrangement interesting, I've added this percussion loop, which is included in my reggaeton sample pack, using some texture, also using a simple transitioning effect. And this is something typical when it comes to reggaeton. You're switching up everything every 4 bars. So this keeps the beat interesting because the rhythm could become a little bit repetitive. Then for example, switching it up again. So I've used automations, some drum switch ups, and something which a lot of those reggaeton producers do is automate the effects. So this is something which is applied a lot to those beats. Step 5, mixing your reggaeton beat. So as you can see within the mixer, I've separated all the layers, create a snare bus, percussion bus, and melody bus, just to streamline everything together, and then add some simple mixing techniques. So for the kick, when it comes to leveling, level it around -6 to -8 dB. So for now it's -8 maybe, and then make sure the bass or a sub bass hits around -12. Then I've used a simple dynamic EQ to make sure the snares are balanced at the same level. So when you're using multiple snares in one track, they doesn't sound the same. So some of the snares contain a lot of low frequencies or some high. And that becomes really tricky because you want them to sound really level. So I've just added dynamic EQ, which is the first step. Then I've used a simple mid-bus control compression. So I'm compressing the sounds to make it sure they come together. So it sounds like this. For example, the second snare and the third snare. All different snares, but they kind of sound the same. And that's exactly what you want to achieve when creating a beat like this. Then I'm adding the percussions. Don't apply too much effects to those ones. I've just simply automated a high cut on this bus. And then I've applied some panning. So we have the snares playing in the middle, and then we pan some sounds to the sides. You don't want them to be too present, but definitely make sure you can hear them properly. Then we're adding in the melodies, and I usually level my melodies around -12 to -15 dB. And a simple trick for adding some compression to your melodies is using a Saturn 2, using a clean tube and adding 20% of drive. And this just makes sure everything blends very well together. If you do not own a Saturn 2, you could also use a stock plugin from Fruity, which is the Fruity limiter. And then you could simply use this saturation button. Or a soft clipper. Basically they are doing all the same thing. Then I've used a hard compression to make sure there are no volumes bouncing around, and then make sure you remove all the low frequencies from 50 Hz because you don't need them and you definitely don't want them. You should not exactly follow those steps, but they could be very helpful when you're having problems mixing a beat like this. Step 6, mastering this beat. So again, mastering, don't make it too difficult. So I've used this plugin on every mastering chain, and I use just a simple preset, which is the mastering electric peak removal, which just catches the peaks. Then I use another gentle saturation on 10% of drive, just to make sure we're creating some more headroom when eventually maximizing the beat. Then I'm using an Ozone 10, starting off with an imager. From 0 to 100 Hz are on mono, so you can simply do this by creating this one, set it to -100. And then play around with these ones. Add some width to the beat. Then I'm adding a maximizer on the true peak. I use this preset. And then I play around with the threshold until my kick hits 0. So I've maximized the volume. So that's it guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely go and check out the Bass Dragon from Unison, the link will be in the description. And I hope you guys enjoy the final result.